All right, welcome to Slab 101 with Sheriff. So, here's my ugly little cylinder I made. I put it together very quickly, but just a basic look at kind of how this product's gonna be. So this is a small one, right? And I did this in about 5 minutes. Cylinder, and I cut this interesting lid out. It's still not smooth, so I would spend some time smoothing that, obviously, and refining my shape. I cut all triangles and then one round shape so that I know when I put it back together, it goes just like that. So this is the simple one. It's a little one. Basically what we're gonna cover is how to make slabs at home and how to do our templates. So let's get started. When I'm rolling slabs, I don't want to take a bunch of dry recycled clay, smush it up and try to roll it out. It won't work. And I'll show you why. So also standing up when you roll slabs gives you guys a lot more leverage because your whole body is just leaning on it. But just like coils, I want to go all the way back and forth with this. So when I'm doing this, I am pushing the clay together, but you guys will see when I go to bend this, you guys can see that you see all the layers just kind of stuck together there. That's gonna end up being crappy when I try to roll this or put it together. It's just gonna come apart. Now that's done. So I really want to use nice, kind of softer clay. It doesn't have to be too soft like the coils, but I want to make sure it's really well put together. So either fresh or that I threw it down a bunch of times and wedged it together. I also want to start with like a general flat shape. I don't want to start with like a ball of clay like we've done before. So we're gonna have a little fun here. Here's my recycled pieces. They're not that soft. Probably need some more water. But I'm gonna wedge this together. So the easiest way to wedge for you guys, take your recycled clay if you have some, and just put some cardboard on the ground outside, not in your house, please, and just throw it at the ground over and over. Really get some anger out on that thing. And what that's gonna do is compact that clay together. So I'm just gonna kind of do that with my hands to not be too loud. And then I want to kind of start with more of a pancake shape. So before we do that, we want to have our shape ready, and that's what you guys are going to be focusing on first. So my templates. Let's use where did it go? Where did it go? I guess I lost my pencil. So let's just draw on clay. This nice piece right here I ruined. So if I wanted to make a cube is 6 sides, right? And they're perfect. So they have to be square, which means all sides are even. So if you want to do a cube, you got to think about that, and you got to use a ruler. If I want to do a cylinder, it's a little bit easier because we talked about cylinders. I can just take a big rectangle, roll it up, boom, I have a cylinder. So that's what I did for this one. And then I just simply place that cylinder on my slabs and cut out the top and bottom and attach them. So that's pretty simple. The easiest way to do that, you take a piece of paper, fold it perfectly in half, so make sure your edges are even. And this will give you a nice straight rectangle that's about a mug size. So this is a pretty big container. You guys have to make sure you have enough clay and you can roll a big enough slab for this. So what I did was I just carefully folded a little bit over, and I was kind of happier with that size. So you're gonna test it out with paper. Does it work? That looks like something I want. So that's what I did, and that's how I got my cylinder. Okay, and if I wanted it a little shorter, I could just fold some paper over. That's the really, really easy, simple way to do a cylinder. Now, if I would like to do something, let's say, more complex, like a pyramid, I would have to cut out a perfect square. Oops. Oops. Sorry about that. So this perfect square is 4 inches by 4 inches. So I used my big ruler and I measured 4 inches by 4 inch square, made sure it was perfect. That will be the bottom of my cube, or it will be the bottom of my pyramid. Both use a perfect square. The easiest way to do that, take a piece of paper, use that nice straight bottom corner, measure 4 out, connect them. You have a perfect square. Okay? Now the challenge with a cube is, with clay, all sides aren't even, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So if I cut out 6 pieces that are the same exact size, theoretically with paper that would build a perfect cube. But because clay has thickness, I need to make 2 pieces longer, and I'll show you what I mean right now. So basically, I cut out 1 more square. So it's not a square anymore, it's a rectangle. It's just a little bit longer. So about 2 clay thicknesses, so my clay is about this thick, right? 2 clay thicknesses bigger. And I'll show you what I mean right now. So here I have my pieces I've been holding on to. We're gonna put this together tomorrow. We need to wait till the pieces are a little bit more firm to put them together. I have some old newspaper to help soak some of the water out of them so they firm up a little bit. Okay, right? So here's my squares that are traced from this one. So all I did was I placed this on the clay and I used my knife to cut them out. If I put these together, so you guys can see how that fits perfectly like that. I want them to butt end to end. But then my next piece, if it's only that same size, it's gonna do this, where they only attach at the little tiny edges. And let's see if I can hold it up so you can see. I have that gap there. So if I blend that together, it's just gonna kind of round my box. And I don't want that box to be rounded. I want it to be nice and square. So what I was saying was these 2 pieces have to be a little bit longer. So then I would have the same one here. And then this piece has to be longer so that it kind of goes over that last one. And I left a little extra there. So I'm trying to get this to stand up so you guys can see. I left a little extra there so that way when I put this one on, I can just cut the extra off so I have some more room to work with. And then same with that one. Okay, so the box goes together that way. The template you make, if you make a perfect square, you can cut out 3 pieces that are that perfect square for here, here, and here. And then these 2 sides just have to be a little bit longer to meet up, if that makes sense. And I accidentally lost one of my pieces somehow. So let's do this. Now my clay is a little bit too thin. Let's not do that. So we're gonna put this away and wait till tomorrow, and we'll get this bad boy together tomorrow. So I just have old newspaper that helps soak some of the moisture out and allows that clay to kind of dry a little bit, just so that it's a little bit firmer for me to put together tomorrow. Now, a little trick with slabs, if you guys have some time or have these laying around, these paint sticks from Home Depot, I think they're free. They work awesome for rolling slabs, and I'll show you why. So, let's say I got my little piece of clay I need to roll out. If I try to roll this out by hand, right, I never want to roll wider than this because it'll just leave big marks in it. So tips for slabs. I want to slap this and flatten it a little bit before I start. It'll just make it easier. I just want to be careful I don't make it any flatter than I want it. So these sticks help because I'll try to roll this by myself. And once again, standing up where you can really push down on this makes it so much easier. I can turn it and roll it back and forth. I just want to make sure it's big enough for my piece. And then I want to roll it lengthwise. So one side to the other. And you really want to be careful. You're not pushing too hard because you don't want to make it too thin and then you'll have to start over. So the thing that stinks about that is you can see my piece is uneven. So if I can find two things that are about the same thickness I need, I'd like my slabs a little bit thicker than that, but it'll work. So really I want my slabs about as thick as my fingers or my pinkies. But what I can do is if you can get two of these paint sticks and stack them up, and then roll the rolling pins on the sticks, you will have yourself a perfectly even slab all the way, as long as you keep your little rolling pin on top of those sticks. So I'll show you what I mean. So notice how this rolling pin is staying on top of the sticks. If I go like this, I'm gonna ruin it. So I gotta be really careful and just pay attention to that. All right, now I have this perfectly even slab. So if I cut this, that was satisfying. You guys can see how that is a nice, perfect, even thickness. Now, depending on what you're rolling on, cardboard will work okay. You might have a texture on one side from whatever you're rolling on. So you need to take your rib and smooth that out. Just drag it across. I don't have my rib with me, but you got. Here's one. So at an angle, I'm just going to take that rib. I don't want to push too hard. I just want to smooth it out. Get rid of any texture on it. Now I have my piece, and that's really it. So if I was cutting out my shapes. And I pretty much cut this one perfect. If I have a really big slab, I don't want to cut out of the middle of it. I want to try to use as much of that slab as possible. This one was just the perfect size, so I don't have to worry about that. So I have my slab. If I'm doing a cylinder, I probably don't want to attach it together today, but I want to leave it in the shape I want it. So I'm going to try to straighten that out, make sure my sides are nice and even. All right, when I attach it, I have a little trick. So I overlapped both pieces, right? I'm going to take a needle or my knife, and I'm going to cut in at that at an angle. So by an angle, I mean like that. And what that's going to do is when I attach these tomorrow or slip and score them, that gives me a nice, boom, nice buttery, even space to attach them. Because a lot of people want to do this where they wrap them over. And the problem being with that is then you end up with this really thick lump of clay because there's two pieces of clay overlapped. So by cutting them at that angle, it cuts them so one piece is like this and one piece is like this, so then they just go right together like that. And then when I attach them, it should be all even thickness. And then really for the cylinder and to do this, I just roll out another slab, put this on top, and I cut around it, making sure it's a little bit bigger. And I do the same for the top, and then I cut my shape. So tomorrow we'll go over how to do the tops and bottoms and attachments and smooth them. I just wanted to give you guys a little introduction on the templates and how the slabs work. So tomorrow we'll go a little more in depth with that. I don't want to cover too much today, so you guys want to focus on getting your templates cut out of paper and ready to go. And then if this is a template, I'm gonna make a secondary one and I'm gonna do my sketch on it. So remember, you guys are using one of the clay techniques or two of the clay techniques we discussed yesterday that are in our last video to design your piece. So think about how much clay you have left, okay? If you don't have much left, we gotta go smaller, maybe even smaller than this. If you have a lot left, we could go bigger. And then think about what shape do you wanna do? Do you wanna do a pyramid? Do you wanna do something totally out there? So we're building with slabs, that's our requirement, this way. And we're building a 3D form that's enclosed, which means it's totally closed. And then we're cutting that lid off. If you guys want to expand upon that idea or take it a step farther, absolutely be my guest. Just talk to me and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my 10 minutes to clean up. I hope you guys have a great day, and make sure you guys send me, can't talk, it's too late at night. Make sure you guys send me your ideas for your projects so we can talk about them, especially if you want to do something a little more complicated. We can just talk about it and you guys will do awesome. See you next time.